all truth is dangerous. The Bible notwithstanding, Jesus notwithstanding. I mean, so again, it comes back to what we talked about earlier, the mystery of human freedom. So the Bible can be misread, and oftentimes has been tragically misread. And it's the same in all religions today. For instance, I believe like Al-Qaeda, ISIS, they're doing a tragic misunderstanding of the Quran. You know, the Quran's a book about peace. You know, see, so that you can take the Christian scriptures and people do and tragically misread. You know, they used a strong example, like for instance, violence. You know, kill the Canaanites, but you can use it to justify slavery, men's superiority over women. You know, women keep your hats on, and you know, wives be subject to your husbands, and so on. Slaves be subject to your master, and so on. There's a lot of bad readings you can do. You know. Now, two things. How to read the scripture properly. One of them is, ideally it's supposed to be read, in your interpretation, it's supposed to be also always mitigated by a larger community, by your church. So not just a private reading and so on. But then churches themselves can become bad, the same as Al-Qaeda or ISIS, where one segment of Islam begins to read all these texts violently and you have to kill people and so on. But see, usually in Christianity, it's mitigated, and then partly, a lot of times people don't like when you say this, but there's also historical development. You know, sometimes people say that the church had this golden age. No. I'll give you a simple example. It took the Christian churches 1900 years to get that slavery was wrong, but now we got it, you know. It took us 2,000 years to get the fact that capital punishment shouldn't be done. Now we've got it. It's taken 2,000 years in the question of women. We still haven't fully got it, but we're making progress, you know. And the other thing, and now I'm going to sound elitist, because I teach here.
Canadian.
Yeah, Canadian. No, as a theologian, you know, serious scholarship is needed. So I'll give you an example, since you used the example. It's an important one. Kill the Canaanites. So it seems at one point in the Old Testament where God just said to Joshua, I want you to go into the land of Canaan and kill everything in there. All the men, the women, the children, the animals. He said, well, what God would do that?
Now open your hymnal and sing.
Yeah, and well, no, but Scripture scholar immediately say, that's not an historical text. That's an archetypal text. That's a symbolic text. And you know who should preach whenever that's on a Sunday? Get somebody from a 12-step program. Remember an alcoholic told me, you know what that means? He said, I know exactly what it means. I'm in 12-step program. It means cold turkey. It means when you stop drinking, you got to kill all the Canaanites. The beer, the bourbon, the whiskey, it's all got to go. If you leave one single thing in there, you're going to be an alcoholic again. You know?
Complete surrender.
Yeah, it's got to be total. You know, it's interesting. Jesus uses the same thing. Jesus has a softer metaphor. Jesus says, new wine, new wineskins. That's exactly the same metaphor. Jesus, you can't put new wine into old wineskins. You're going to lose them both. See, so basically what you're saying, you can't have it both ways. If you're going to enter a new way of life, you have to kill off the old way of life. So for instance, the example I used today, you can use the drinking example, but for instance, a lot of people getting married today, they have a long history of sexual infidelity and so on. Well, you can't take that into your marriage. You got to kill off those Canaanites. All your old lovers and girlfriends and stuff, they got to go. Otherwise, you can't take the new land.
Metaphorically, you're not saying kill them.
No. I mean, no. You are saying it metaphorically. You're not literally killing them. I always say these texts should come with these. You know how they have disclaimers in a movie. No real horses died making this film.
Ron's been sued a lot.
No, they should have that on the book of Exodus. No real people die in this book. You know, no real Canaanites died here. You know, see, and notice Jesus softens those metaphors. So Jesus doesn't talk about killing anything. He says, new wine, new wineskins. That's exactly the same text. See, so sometimes there is no substitute for scholarship. And interesting enough, some of those most violent texts, when you tease them out, are actually deep moral texts, you know. See, this is a very important text, you know. Today, we need to take our society and say, you know, you can't have it both ways. You can't be married and going to singles bars. You know, that's you haven't killed the Canaanite. You know,
You're
if
not
you,
going to grow much.
and if you're addicted to alcohol, you can't say, well, I'm just going to drink beer and wine. Those two won't count. In fact, I just wrote an article on that recently, on that text, and I started with the story of Eric Clapton, the great rock star, you know, and he tells in his autobiography, he says, you know, he was an alcoholic, full-blown for many years, and finally they intervened and sent him to a clinic, and he says, yeah, I didn't take it seriously. He said, so when I got back home, I thought, okay, hard liquor, yes, I'll drink beer and wine. Of course, in a year, he's a full-blown alcoholic again. Second time he went, he learned, said, I really, it means everything. It means I can never, ever touch liquor again. If I do, I'm a full-blown alcoholic, you know. See, that's Joshua going into the promised land. It says, when you enter a new life, see, they're talking about new life. Promised land is metaphor. You're entering a new life. You can't have the old life stay there. You can't
do it alone.
And you can't do it alone, you know. See, so it's actually a powerful text that needs to be preached on.